formidable opponent of Zambia.
You're watching Worldview here on KTN News. We thank you so much for staying with us. Now, earlier we were telling you about the situation in Somalia, of course, with AMISOM marking 10 years since the troops went in. Our Timothy Otieno is there. He spoke to the Chief of Staff of the AMISOM. And joining us in studio this morning is John Gashier. He's a regional affairs analyst. Of course, to talk more about that, but more importantly, about that IGAD special summit that is set to be held here in Nairobi tomorrow. The leaders coming in, including Somalia's president, who's already in the country, President Farmajo. And today there's an interministerial meeting ahead of that, of course, to just prepare and set the stage of the issues that the presidents will be discussing. Thank you so much, Mr. Gashier, for joining us here on Worldview. So let's begin with, for you, what should be priority? Because talking about Somalia, there's multiple issues. There's the famine, there's the rule of law that's, you know, at stake in as far as al-Shabaab and AMISOM being in there trying to stabilize the country. Refugees continues to be a concern with some of the member countries, you know, hosting these refugees, saying it is time for them to go back, including here, Kenya. What is a priority as this meeting is held tomorrow, do you think?
Thank you very much. The priority for Somalia now is, in my view, is there are three things. One is to get the security and the leadership back on course. And two, to ensure that security in Somalia is back to its, shall I say, to a better level. At the moment, what we have a new leadership, and it's indeed, there are indications that he enjoys a lot of goodwill. And perhaps a bigger issue is how he manages the expectations going forward. The issue is security, security, security.
Security, you think, is the biggest issue?
Yes.
Do you think AMISOM being there 10 years from observing affairs in the country has helped stabilize the country, or has the situation gotten so bad that Somalia cannot do without AMISOM?
Your question raises two things. Will AMISOM ever be able to control or perhaps give Somali the security that they need? Certainly not. But AMISOM, as it is constituted, is helping the government and the people of Somalia to get back together, to really understand the political issues that involve the security dimension. And really, AMISOM is kind of a transitional issue. Now, as to whether AMISOM has delivered on its core mandate, I think I would say yes. And has AMISOM helped Somalia get its act together? In many ways, larger areas of Somalia are quite peaceful for the moment. But, of course, there are challenges. And the challenges have got to do with the funding, the mandate, the internal political situation. And, of course, there is the larger regional issue with Somalia bordering Kenya, Djibouti, and Ethiopia. And then, as you rightly pointed out, the issue of the refugees. So it's a fairly complex situation, and AMISOM is just one of the components. And AMISOM has, present, has in many ways helped Somalia perhaps have a breathing space, so to speak, and perhaps the election, as we are having now, of the president, and the new leadership that has been selected is to a large extent due to the international community's engagement and through AMISOM, so to speak.
So then do you think the 2020 exit strategy of AMISOM from Somalia that AU had earlier announced is feasible?
That is a big question.
Yeah.
And I think it will very much depend on what and how the new leadership and indeed the new president of Somalia goes about bringing in political stability, political inclusion, and also the support that he gets from the international community. So they are all interlinked, interrelated. But I would say perhaps as it is now, it appears that Somalia could be heading to a new direction. Will AMISOM be critical? Yes. Will it perhaps mandate have to be extended? I think we need to have to watch and see. Have they been effective? I would, if it's a question of 1 to 10, I would say that AMISOM has perhaps a good 7.
Okay.
And I think that's something very good that we need to applaud that. Now, has then the international community and the regional countries been very effective? I would perhaps say we still have to address the issue of the refugee issue and the immigration.
Right.
Yeah.
And yet, as you say, security for you is priority. Another very big issue, perhaps, which the president might be seeing as an even bigger priority is the drought and now famine. You saw the UN Secretary General visit the country to appeal to the world, saying this is the time to act. People are dying in Somalia. Aid workers, there's issue of some of the hikes we're seeing in being able to operate in that country. So really, Somalia is in a delicate place, and one wonders, a one-day meeting, of course, there's that interministerial meeting today, but do you feel that this IGAD special summit will come up with a clear way to tackle the issues in Somalia?
Thank you, Sophie. My read is that the issue of Somalia cannot be diverse from IGAD. Indeed, the level and the extent of which IGAD is engaged and keeps on being engaged in the Somali question is extremely important. Remember that of the countries in IGAD, we have Djibouti, we have Ethiopia, and we have Kenya. And indeed, these 3 countries share the largest, so to speak, spillover effect of the political instability. Perhaps even when you raise the issue of drought, even when you raise the issue of humanitarian crisis, the 3 countries, by the very nature that we share a border, we also have people of Somali heritage right across the 3 countries, and then there are political issues. So IGAD is critical. IGAD is, in my view, if there is political will, and indeed we are seeing those issues coming to the fore, IGAD will be critical.
Yeah.
In the longer run, and Kenya specifically, and Ethiopia.
Right.
Yeah.
So you see this meeting bearing fruit. You see what, a new Somalia, perhaps in a few years, or looking, because you said something that stood out, that with a new leadership, perhaps a new dawn for Somalia?
Yes, and I would say this a little guardedly here. Now, Somalia's new leadership, in my view, gives the country and the country's political leadership a one-off chance to really reclaim their country. And the support that the new leadership gets from Kenya, from IGAD, from the international community will be extremely important in pushing Somalia ahead.
Right.
So I would say it's perhaps the beginning of a new, possibly brighter Somalia and future, and we pray.
We definitely pray, and we will be watching events as they unfold and developments from that special summit. John Gashie, thank you so much for being with us here on Worldview. John Gashie is Regional Affairs Analyst, talking to us about just what to expect even as we go into that IGAD summit tomorrow.